Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, being a citizen of a small island developing state, I have often despaired at how our ocean, so critical to our survival, is taken for granted. It is treated as if its riches belong to all who sail upon the seas, but the responsibility for its protection lies at no one's shore. Hence, our ocean is the barometer for the scale of the climate crisis that we must face as citizens of our planet. For there is no better indicator or regulator of the global climate than the ocean. We are teetering on the edge of the abyss. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, has shown that the vast majority of excess heat generated by global warming is absorbed by the oceans. This translates into coral bleaching, increasing acidity, and heightened frequency of extreme weather events. For island dwellers around the world, this means less fish, less income and livelihoods, and homes that are under threat. The impact is immediate. So many of the stories about climate change are about future disasters, but I can assure you that for island nations, the ocean is telling us that there is no more time. But the ocean also carries a message of hope. As it has done for our ancestors, the ocean reminds us of our isolation, but also of our connection to the rest of humanity. And thus we remind everyone of the power of this connection. And we are all connected to the ocean's ability to generate new life. By committing to protect at least 30% of our oceanic spaces, we will provide our oceans with the chance to rejuvenate, the chance to recover and provide a new lease of life for all. After all, let us remember, there is no vaccine against climate change. But there is no bigger boost to our planet's immune system than by protecting our oceans. I recall vividly of how I took the first steps towards leading Seychelles to commit over 1/3 of its exclusive economic zone under protection, and how to many it seemed unrealistic. Seychelles had already dedicated over 50% of its land under protection, but only 2% of our oceanic space had adequate protection. This represented a huge risk to our biodiversity, and critically, it also represented a huge risk to our economy, as Seychelles has made environmentally conscious tourism a mainstay of its development strategy. Studies have shown that the bleaching events associated with El Niño in the late 90s had decimated the coral in our inner islands, while also showing that those areas, the most protected and least impacted by human interference, proved the most resilient. The goal of protecting at least 30% of our oceanic space, to me, represents the most lasting investment of my presidency. Because for me, it was about giving my country a fighting chance. It was about ensuring that my children and grandchildren can benefit from a symbiotic relationship with the ocean, which has defined so much of my own existence. The main challenge in achieving this ambition was that it was seen as economically unviable, or even that such a goal may represent a brake on the expansion of tourism and fisheries. We were determined to marry the possibility of sustainable management of the oceanic space together with economic opportunity. And this is why we used every chance we got to advocate for the principles of a blue economy. This required relooking at the organization of economic activity in our oceanic space and mobilizing new resources. The opportunity arose to undertake a debt for adaptation swap with the support of the Nature Conservancy, and on the basis of a newly defined marine special plan for the country's 1.3 million square kilometers of ocean. We successfully bought back $21.7 million of our debt in 2015, being the first of its kind to use repurposed debt for the purposes of refinancing marine protection. We created a special fund called the Seychelles Conservation and Climate Adaptation Trust to manage the proceeds, and which continues to disburse funds annually to invest in conservation, ecotourism, and sustainable fisheries initiatives. In the process, we created marine protected areas totaling almost 400,000 square kilometers, an area larger than Germany. Most importantly, for this operation, we created new economic opportunities. Marine-based ecotourism has flourished on the basis of the specially selected areas of outstanding biological diversity. The debt swap also led to improved market access for Seychelles, opening the door for Seychelles to issue a blue bond a few years later for investment in sustainable fisheries. I have confidence that the marine protected areas will contribute to sustainable livelihoods in Seychelles for many generations. These safe havens can multiply benefits in several ways. Recent research by the American Network of Marine Protected Areas has shown that for each 5% of additional marine areas and their targeted protection correlates a boost of up to 20% in catches in surrounding areas. There are also intriguing possibilities for harnessing the opportunities of biotechnology using ocean-based products, including, for example, in pharmaceutical. The experiences that Seychelles has undergone have also shown how sustainable structures can generate rewards on financial markets, or even the smallest jurisdiction. Seagrass is one of the 3 blue carbon ecosystems alongside mangroves and salt marshes, with the ability to capture carbon dioxide up to 50% faster than the Earth's green carbon ecosystems, such as trees. It is one of the Earth's most efficient carbon sinks, and it is a much needed weapon against climate change. Seychelles is one of several countries, including Indonesia, considering the role that nature-based solutions can play within these collective efforts to achieve global reductions in greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to the impacts of climate change in particular. And Seychelles is exploring the role that seagrass protections can play in its next NDC. Increased knowledge on Seychelles blue carbon systems and enhanced public awareness on the ability to mitigate climate change is one of our strategic priorities. Knowledge gained from this program would also be developed, shared, and utilized to advance other strategic priorities. For example, to support the creation of MPAs that protect the health and resilience of blue carbon systems as carbon sinks. Promote and incentivize the rehabilitation of seagrass and mangrove systems, given their ability to fight climate change. Nurture the establishment of blue economy projects and blue carbon markets that can reward businesses that protect and restore the ability of blue carbon systems to mitigate climate change. The James Michel Foundation, in partnership with Deakin University of Australia, is undertaking the first ever study of blue carbon stocks within the Seychelles archipelago. Blue carbon ecosystems, mangroves, seagrass beds, salt marsh, are among Earth's most efficient carbon sinks, burying carbon up to 40 to 50 times faster than tropical forests and locking away carbon in the ground for millennial timescales. Accounting for the ocean's carbon offsetting capacity can help Seychelles and other countries, including Indonesia, remain a net carbon sink and achieve its nationally determined contribution, the NDC. Further, many of the costs of achieving emission reductions in the energy and transport sectors could be met through international climate carbon and blue carbon markets. In addition to sequestering carbon, blue carbon ecosystems provide other important ecosystem services. They support fisheries, enhance biodiversity, and protect shorelines from erosion. It also protects shorelines from extreme weather events and sea level rise. Financing for climate resilience needs to be dramatically upscaled at the global level. Commitments made by the richest nations under the Paris Agreement must be honored. But I am proud that despite the challenges that surrounded us, my country was able to do something meaningful to build climate resilience for ourselves, but which also contributes to global resilience. Because our ocean continues to connect us by building pockets of protection and resilience, we must connect the opportunities that are before us. It is my hope that if a country of less than 100,000 people can protect 30% of its ocean, then we must believe that the over 7 billion inhabitants of planet Earth can do the same to protect the space that connects us all. To protect the ocean which belongs to us all and which depends on us all. I thank you for your attention.